Nice reference to Atlas Shrugged there
What's
for
that?
Endicott Steel.
Yeah,
Nice
there you go.
reference to Atlas Shrugged. And then three, it's going to what I read in like Ninja Selling and several others. In, we're only in control of the process. They control the decisions.
There you go.
So we can't leave them up to just on a whim having us guide them through that. We really need to control the process on that.
Yeah.
I'm surprised I
So
remembered all three of those.
look at you. Let's go. Let's go. All right, real quick. So today, I know it's like Freestyle Friday. I wanted to go back and touch base on Wednesday's conversation, right? So I left you Wednesday with some powerful questions that will never leave you like stuck and gap mouthed. What I mean by that is when somebody asks you a question, you go, uh, like it's the worst place to be, right? And the question was, hey, congratulations. We've been interviewing several people. You're all exactly identical. We're ready to make a decision, but it's so close and you all do the exact same things or very similarly. What makes you different? Why should I hire you? Tell me more about who you are and why you do what you do. What are some of the things that you guys have kind of written down? What's your rough draft around that conversation? I want to hear. Let's share. Here's why I bring this up. 2.5 years ago, when I made my transition, I left an opportunity where I was absolutely crushing, but I lost the vision. I lost my mission. And there's nothing worse in your own personal career than success with no purpose. It's the emptiest, it's the oddest, and it's the most dirty feeling thing ever. Right. Like it just, it didn't feel good. I was lost, right? I was rudderless in the ocean. Like I was on a nice boat, but I didn't know where I was going and I was subject to the wind and I was, in the storms. Right. And so when I made the transition, I had to go through a lot of searching. I had to go through a lot of soul searching. I had to go through a lot of journaling. I went through a lot of coaching, therapy, even to figure out like why am I so this way, right? Why am I feeling this way? Like, is it a midlife crisis? Like, yeah, I just turned, I'm 44, just turned 45. Like, I'm like legit. Am I having a midlife crisis? What is this? And it was simply this, right? Like I got caught in the race. I got caught in um, the continual spin of more for more sake, right? And you have to be careful of who you get your advice from, and going into what I call toxic leadership and toxic positivity, where it's almost leadership gaslighting to where it's manipulative conversation just to squeeze you for more. And it's like, well, leaders will find a way. Leaders don't quit. Like talent figures it out. And I'm like, I'm struggling. I need more help. Well, your talent, you'll figure it out. Right. Talent doesn't make like, and so I got caught in this thing. And then it's like, well, what's your goal? Great. Cross it out and double it. Oh, okay. But then I got caught in the like I lost the why, I lost the purpose, I lost the for what, and so it wasn't until the last 2.5 years where it took me quite a while to start really exploring and pushing and writing and journaling and articulating like okay like what is it what gets me excited, where do I find myself in flow, what makes getting on these calls every single morning or having my calendar full of one-on-one, like what is that, like what is the reward, what's the payoff. And so once I started getting really clear on it, like that's when things started opening up and I started having a lot more fun. So fast forward to in the last couple months, I've had the opportunity to be interviewing for some unique opportunities that are really exciting, and I can't wait to share more. However, in one of the last conversations that I had with the executive leadership board, I got asked the question, and it was the exact same question I posed to you guys. Hey, it's between you and another candidate that's really everyone's really strong and talented. Why do you want to do this? Why? You could do anything. Why this? Fortunately, I had the answer. And luckily for the last 2 years, I'd been working really, really hard on getting clear on the answer. And that answer was everything, right? So I don't want you guys to get stuck gap mouthed. So share with me, what are some of the things that you've discovered over the last couple of days from having those questions on Wednesday? And Ramil, I don't know if you already had that thing scheduled with the schools, but that was cool. Is that something that you've always like done, or is that something that came out of Wednesday?
No, she actually, so the girl that was there, um, we're like, I mean, we're friends, but just like distant friends. Like we
Uh-huh.
met probably 15 years ago. Um, and just like I've just been social media friends basically.
Okay.
Uh, but yeah, she just reached out. Um, she reached out on Wednesday and said she wanted to do something and wanted to know like at first she was like, does your brokerage do anything, like that for back to
Uh-huh.
school guys?
Right.
And I'm like, I'll just do it. Like
Yeah.
my you can do it. Like I'll do it. I was like, I'll come tomorrow. And she was like, all right, yeah. So yeah, we just did that
That video
in
was hilarious, by the way.
12
That's good.
hours
That's good
notice.
stuff.
Yeah.
That was hilarious. Nice work keeping like the fun stuff in there. That's so cool.
Yeah. And that it just happened that way. When I was editing it, I was like, I really like this.
Yeah.
We joked about it like while because we literally filmed like a long time and a lot of takes. And so I'll probably do like a longer blooper version with all the other videos that we messed up on. So
Yeah.
uh, but that was good. But yeah, no, I just to keep it on topic in your question, um I need to think about it more, but over the last 2 days, like I haven't thought about it and I know that I need to because if someone was to ask me that, I know I could come up with some generic
Yeah.
answer. But
Mhm.
I think you're right. Like it's something you need to work on, and it needs to be true, overall, and speak to you.
Yeah. Yeah. They'll feel it if it's inauthentic, for sure.
Yeah,
That's almost worse than not having an answer. It is coming across inauthentic with something. I wish more people could see all of the conversations that are being had in the public forum that are just pandering versus authenticity. Cause I'm like, are people really buying into this? Like, I, and those that are, I start to question, I start to question them. I'm like, ooh. Anyways, we're skating into a gray area where I don't like to have the conversations. What other things came up from Wednesday's conversation for you guys?
I haven't like come up with just like an actual conversation, I guess, like put it into words. But I mean, for me, I mean, I told you, I got asked kind of a couple questions that I really feel like up until this week, I haven't even been asked that many times. I mean, like one of the guys, he is totally upside down on his mortgage. And I don't even know why somebody gave him a loan 2 years ago for the house this much. Like I really have no idea. I mean, it was a refi. And even the daughter even had asked me like, why do you want to help him? Like we've talked to other people and they're just telling him he should just do a short sale and everything. And I'm like, people will pay a premium for a house that's already done. So, if we can get the house, just put $15,000 into it and get it up to, this point, we can actually push it where your dad's house is
Yeah.
like, where he's actually can break even, if not actually come to the table with some money. And, within a very short time, I had, a landscaper over there, contractor over there, all these things. And I mean, they were literally in tears like when I had left there. I went back over to their house after we got all these numbers, sat down with them, kind of laid out a plan. And she goes, nobody is like doing this like for us. And I'm not tooting my horn. I'm saying like there's just something in me that like I'm just really passionate about trying to help people. And this is like someone's largest asset. This guy is, in his 70s. He really needs to be like retiring and not like walking away from his house and not having any money. But I just really have a desire to, get people out of situations, help them like, get the most money possible for their house, give them solutions for things. And but I also like I see a lot with like in the community. I really like trying to help people with home ownership, because I think home ownership builds community. I think it builds more stable homes and stable communities for kids. Obviously, like when people are more transient, they're less involved with their schools and churches and organizations because they're moving around so much. So just kind of giving people a pathway to home ownership.
Okay.
So I don't know how to put it into words all the time, but I just
permission to give you some ideas. Okay.
Yeah.
When was the last time, or where was the beginning where you experienced the benefit and the power of home ownership in regards to community? Or when was there a time where somebody helped you first that then inspired you or caused you to now take this on to this level? I think if we can share our origin story, where when you were in a spot where someone helped you, and then if that inspired you or caused you to move forward into whatever your mission is, like that's the hero's journey that other people want to hear. Otherwise, like, not to just say that like you don't have a passion for philanthropy. Like there's a lot of people that like get good feelings from giving. However, it's really powerful when someone is like with Mike's story, when someone was actually in like a home for, what was it, like sober living, or okay, so someone that was struggling with substance abuse and finally found a place that helped him get out of that. And so much, and it inspired him so much so to begin to create those communities. Like that's a powerful thing. I know we're a little bit over time. I'm going to share with you an example. So one of my coaches and mentors that I have a lot of affinity for, and I think the world of her, and it's Kristen Cole, and she runs a large organization in Alaska and Arizona. And she shared a story where like she's been in the industry for about 30 years, and she was like the number one agent for years, for like 19 years. She was the number one this, number one that, and she was like, I hated it. I hated every single minute of it. And then her coach said, okay, so what are you doing this for? And like, if there was a part of the world, or if there was a group of people that you could serve at the highest level, who would they be? And she just shared some really powerful parts of her own personal journey, where she had an abusive marriage, and they had to escape, and she had nowhere to go, and then finally found a home, a transitional home for um, people looking to escape domestic violence. And so she started her charity of Kristen's Homes for Hope. And now, like, one of their missions every year is to buy a fourplex every year and have that available in different communities for people looking to escape domestic violence and to get transitioned back into their own world. Because a lot of times, these spouses are stay at home, and then they're being abused, and they're trapped because they don't have jobs and they don't have careers because they've given them up to raise their family, and then they get trapped. So she's like, it wasn't until that, and when she finally tapped into that, that's when her whole world exploded. That's when she got so much energy and passion to build a powerful team and expand it into different markets, and took it and grew it from there. And that's where now it's the Kristen Cole Network, and one of their biggest charities is Kristen's Homes for Hope. And so think about how powerful it is for whenever she goes into an appointment, or anyone on her team goes into an appointment, say, well, why do you guys do what you do? Well, here's one of the missions that we're really passionate about, and it's this. And you may be sitting across from somebody that was also a survivor of abuse, and they're like, well, we're done. Like, you're our people. Like, we're absolutely here to support that. So I'm saying, don't be afraid to tap into the things in your own life, in your own world that you're passionate about. That the purpose of business is to fund the perfect life, right? And what we do is a vehicle, is a tool for us to really make an impact. First in ourselves, then in our families, and then the world. So don't be afraid to tap into that. Right? If you're only stopping with yourself and you're only stopping with your family, then you might be cutting off people out there that really need you most. That if you just like became aware or tapped into the energy of that, like it would give you more than enough to take it over the top. It would remove all the fear. It would remove all of the unknowns, because then you when you are on mission and you share the mission, what you do is you give people permission to just come towards you and say, how can we help? This is something we're passionate about too. I want to help you. I want to help you. So I know we're a little bit over time. I really would like for you guys to consider this and think about this. And on Monday, I'd like for us to talk a little bit more and like have a 10 to 15 second answer to that question. What's your 10 to 15 second answer to that question? Cool. All right, y'all. Have a killer weekend. Go enjoy Orlando. Ramil, go talk to at least 55 more FSBOs. Mike, good to see you back. Alan, get on that to-do list.
Yeah.
Get the paint scraper out, get the screwdriver going. Let's go. All right, guys. Take care. Be well.
Thanks, Matt.